Alessandro, a young millionaire from Milan, had inherited a large fortune at just 30 years old after the tragic death of his parents in an accident when he was just 20. Despite his life of luxury, surrounded by servants and comforts, Alexander felt incredibly alone and empty inside. One day, while driving his sports car through the streets of the city, he saw Beatrice, a homeless woman, rummaging through a garbage can. The woman looked weak and tired, and Alessandro felt a pang of compassion in his chest. Without thinking, he stopped the car and asked her softly, "Ma'am, can I help you?" Beatrice looked at him suspiciously, but something in Alessandro's eyes made her feel that she could trust him. "My name is Beatrice," she said in a trembling voice. "I've been living on the streets for months now. They evicted me because I couldn't afford the rent anymore." Listening to Beatrice's story, Alessandro felt a deep sadness. Without hesitation, he offered her a place to stay in his mansion. "I have a garage that I don't use. I'd love it if you stayed there until you find something better," Alessandro said. With tears in her eyes, Beatrice accepted the offer and followed him to the villa. In the following days, Alessandro and Beatrice began to get to know each other better. Alessandro discovered that Beatrice had been a talented artist in her youth, but had to abandon her passion due to life's difficulties. Beatrice, for her part, realized that behind the facade of the lonely millionaire, Alessandro had a noble and compassionate heart. Little by little, Beatrice's presence began to fill the void that Alessandro felt in his heart. She taught him to appreciate the simple things in life, like a sunset or a cup of hot coffee on a cold morning. Alessandro, in turn, provided Beatrice with the security and love she so needed. But despite the growing friendship between them, Beatrice remained secretive about her past. Alessandro felt that there was something she hadn't told him yet, but he decided not to force her. She knew that when she was ready, she would share her story with him. Beatrice's birthday arrived, and Alessandro decided to organize a surprise party to show her how much she meant to him. He decorated the garage with balloons and garlands, prepared his favorite dishes, and invited some of Beatrice's old friends. When Beatrice saw the party, she was speechless, and with tears in her eyes, she hugged Alessandro, thanking him for everything. "No one has ever done that for me," she said emotionally. Just when Beatrice thought everything was going perfectly, a man approached her with an expression of surprise. "Beatrice, is that you?" the man asked. It was Lorenzo, an old friend of Beatrice, who knew about the darkest moments of her life. Beatrice felt paralyzed with fear, but she knew she had to face her past. Lorenzo told Alessandro that Beatrice had been having an affair with a man named Riccardo, an art collector involved in shady business. When Beatrice discovered the truth and threatened to report him, Riccardo brutally beat her, forcing her to flee and hide. Alessandro listened to Beatrice's story with horror and compassion. Just when it seemed that the worst was over, Lorenzo revealed something that left them frozen. Riccardo was in town and was looking for her. Alessandro decided to take matters into his own hands, hired a security team, and together with Beatrice and Lorenzo, planned to confront Riccardo. During an art auction, Riccardo approached Beatrice with eyes full of anger and contempt. "Did you come to beg me to forgive you?" he asked sarcastically. But Beatrice forcefully replied, "I have come to make you pay for all the evil you have done to me." Lorenzo showed those present the evidence of Riccardo's falsified works. Collectors and critics accused him of fraud, and the police arrested him. When she saw Riccardo arrested, Beatrice felt an enormous weight lift from her shoulders. Alessandro hugged her tightly and whispered, "You did it, Beatrice. You faced your worst nightmare and came out victorious. I'm so proud of you." But the story does not end here. After Riccardo's arrest, Beatrice finally felt free to look to the future without fear. Together with Alessandro and Lorenzo, they began to look for his daughter, whom he had lost sight of years earlier. After weeks of searching, they found her and arranged an emotional reunion. Beatrice discovered that her daughter, Sophia, lived in a small town a few hours away. Alexander and Beatrice went to the city of Sophia. When they arrived, Beatrice's heart was beating fast. How would Sophia have reacted seeing her after so many years? Would he forgive her for abandoning her? With her heart in her mouth, Beatrice knocked on Sophia's door. A few seconds passed that seemed like an eternity. Then the door opened. In front of her was a young woman who looked at her with incredulous eyes.
Mom?
Sophia asked, her voice cracking with emotion. "Yes, my love, it's me," Beatrice replied, unable to hold back her tears. Sophia threw herself into his arms, crying and laughing at the same time. They spent hours talking and catching up. Beatrice's daughter told her about her life, her work as a teacher, and her family. Beatrice, in turn, told her everything that had happened from when she ran away from Ricardo until her return to art, thanks to Alessandro's help. It was a moment of healing and reconciliation for both of them. After so many years of separation, they could finally be a family again. Alessandro watched everything from a corner, with a smile on his lips. He knew he had been a key part of Beatrice's recovery, and was happy to have been able to help her find the peace she so needed. And here I ask you, have you ever had an encounter that changed your life? Share your stories in the comments. I would be happy to read them. After the reunion with her daughter, Beatrice and Alessandro returned to the villa with hearts full of happiness and hope for the future. They decided that Sophia and her family would move in with them, so they could make up for lost time and make new memories together. Alessandro was thrilled to have an even bigger family and dedicated himself to preparing everything for their arrival. He had the rooms of the villa renovated and hired a team of decorators to fill them with color and life. Beatrice, for her part, spent hours in her studio painting and creating new works of art. Now that she had found her daughter and faced her past, she felt freer to express herself with passion than ever before. The villa became a center of creativity and love, a place where new memories were built every day, and we looked to the future with hope. Beatrice and Alessandro, united by a chance meeting, had found a family and a new reason for living, demonstrating that, sometimes, fate can reserve the most beautiful surprises in the most unexpected moments. Thank you, friends, for staying with us until this point. If you enjoyed this story, share it with those who you think might find it inspiring. See you in the next video. See you soon.